How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Nun, Daf 50 of Masechta BavaKama. Are we starting? Wait, what? No, I'm getting ahead of myself. Nope, I'm getting ahead of myself. Today we're studying Daf Memtes, Daf 49 of Masechta BavaKama. Friends, well, we're going to study it talks about Vlodis. It talks about mostly the sugya of Vlodis. Oy vavoy, ooh, Babel stretch, Babel etch, Babel stretch, Babel stretch. All right, Memches Amud Beis. We're going to start on Memches Amud Beis, the Mishnah at the bottom. Shoshay miskaven lachaver v'hika es ha'isha. An ox intended to gore its fellow ox, but instead gored a woman. V'yatzu yiladea, and she miscarried. Potter midmei vlodis. So, like we learned in the previous parak, I believe, that so there's no dmei vlodis, right? Because that right, it says kinatu anoshim, right? When people are fighting and somebody hits this woman, and a pregnant woman, and she miscarries. So then there's the dmei vlodis, but the person who causes this to happen needs to pay the value of the fetus, the miscarried fetus, to the husband, or I believe we learned basically to whoever made her pregnant, regardless of if they're married. And then she gets the value of the tsar and the nezek. Okay, but we say anoshim v'lo shvarim, but if a ox causes her, right, injures her and causes her to miscarry, so then there would not be dmei vlodis. There would not be any dmei vlodis. Wow. I think kind of what's tripping me up is BavaKama is very technical, I guess. But it's not Yavamis. It's not BavaKama over Yavamis any day of the week. But it is very technical. Like, I find almost that I enjoy preparing BavaKama more than I enjoy like recording it, because when I'm like preparing it and going over the sugas, they're like good sugas to work through, you know. When I have to explain it, it's very, very technical. Was it the ox? Is it the person? Is it the owner of the ox? Is it the husband? Is it? But as a limud, BavaKama is geschmack. BavaKama is geschmack, and you'll all agree, right? But to kind of explain it is very technical. Very, very technical. Who's doing what over here? Very technical stuff. Fine. So anyways, so an ox intends to hit another ox, but hits a woman. She's pregnant. She miscarries. So the payment, right, exactly. So the vlodos go to the husband, the tsar, and the nezek go to her. Okay. Anyways. Now a person intended to hit his fellow, but ended up hitting this woman, and she miscarried. So in that case, he has to pay the dmei vlodis, which is paid to the husband. Keitzad mishalim dmei vlodis. So now, how do we calculate the dmei vlodis? How do we know how much to pay to the husband? So, well, we evaluate what her sort of value was, were she to be sold as a shifcha. So what would her value be with, when she's pregnant? The assumption currently is that she would have a higher value when she's pregnant. Now compare that with her value when without the pregnancy, and subtract one from the other, and the difference would be the dmei vlodis, and that would be the what would be paid to the husband. Says of Shimon Gamliel, okay, the Gemara is going to have to explain what exactly this means, so I won't really explain it now. We'll get there in the Gemara. I'll just translate it, but we'll have to explain it in the Gemara. That if so, we're saying that a woman's value increases when she gives birth, which is weird because we just said fakert, that the value is higher before she gives birth. The Gemara is going to explain. Ela shaman es havlodis kamein yofin vinos in the bal. But Reb Shimon Gamliel says, look, what you do is you don't compare different, what was her value when she's pregnant, when she's not pregnant. Rather, we figure out the value of the fetus, and that's what is paid to the husband. Ve'im ein la ba'al, and if she doesn't have a husband, no sein liyarsha. Okay, so then, right, if he's not around, so give the value to his heirs. Now, if she was a shifcha or a gioris or a shifcha that was married to a eved who was freed, or a gioris who was married to a ger, meaning if there are no heirs to give the money to, if the husband dies, so then Potter, the perpetrator, does not need to pay anybody, because a ger who dies and does not have any heirs, so his property becomes hefker, and therefore the perpetrator, this money that was meant to be paid to the ger or to his heirs, but he doesn't have any heirs, so when the ger dies, so whoever gets his stuff gets it. It's hefker. So the perpetrator gets this, can just basically keep his money. Hold on to his money. He doesn't have to pay anybody. Fine. Now, says the Gemara, Taima de miskavin lachavero. So the reason why the ox, the Gemara asks basically, the reason why the ox is potter when it intended to gore another ox, but then it ended up goring this woman, and she miscarried. So we're saying that there's no payment of vlodis because the ox intended to gore a fellow ox, not this fella. But if the ox intended to gore this woman, so mishalim tmei vlodis. We want to say that the implication is that in that case, if the ox intended to gore this pregnant woman, so then the owner of the ox would pay dmei vlodis. Le'metave tuyufte derivada barahava. Let's say this is a kasha, and avada barahava, the avada barahava shvarim sheniskavnu la'isha peturim midmei vlodis. The avada barahava says that if an ox, sorry, Bob, that if an ox intended to, that even in a situation where the ox intended to gore this pregnant woman, still the owner of the ox would be potter from midmei vlodis. Vada Barahava would say, no, this Mishnah is not a kasha on me. Hu adin da'afilu niskavnu la'isha nami pturim. Even if the ox intended to gore this pregnant woman, still the owner of the ox would not have to pay dmei vlodis, pturim dmei vlodis. The reason why the Mishnah specifically said that if an ox intends to gore another ox, well, because the very next clause in the Mishnah is if a fellow intended to smite his fellow, but instead smote a pregnant woman, that is how the pasuk is written. So when it comes to people, we do want to specifically talk about a fellow who strikes another fellow, or intends to. So Kotani Reisha Nami Shosha Miskav Nachaveru. So in the Reisha Oichit, we said an ox intended to gore another ox, but the truth is, it doesn't really matter. Even if the ox intended to gore this woman, this pregnant woman, still the ox would be potter. The owner of the ox would be potter. Amr Papas is a Papa Shoshanogach es Shifcha v'yotzu yiladeo. An ox that gores a shifcha, Kanainis, and she miscarries. A shifcha, and she, wait, but when we say shifcha, wait 1 second. Okay, so a shifcha Kanainis, Poshet shifcha Kanainis, a maid servant, v'yotzu yiladeo, and she miscarries, mishalim dmei vlodis, so there would be dmei vlodis. My time I'll come, chamarta ma'abarta ba'alma hu de'azik. Well, because we treated the situation just in the same way that we would treat a scenario where an ox gored a donkey and it miscarried. That that in that case the owner of the ox would be chayav to pay for the damage. So here also the same thing. The Amar Kaka, the Pasuk says shvulachim payim achomer amadom lechomer, that be'etzim we're going to compare the scenario of the shivcha knanis to the scenario of a chomer, and therefore there will be payment of vlodis in that case. Kate said mishalim to me vlodis. So how do we pay the value of the vlodis? The may vlodis shvach vlodis mi boile. Well, it should be kilu, the increased value of this woman, right? Meaning the Mishnah had said, according to the BavaKama, that we compare the increased value of this woman with her pregnancy. We compare that to the value without the pregnancy, and we'd pay the difference. So ochinami ko omar ketzad mishalem dmei vlodis v'shvach vlodis. How do we pay sort of the enhanced value of this pregnant woman, and then when she miscarries because of the scenario? Well, what was her value prior to the miscarriage? What is her value currently? And the difference would be the dmei vlodis that go to the husband. Okay, so this thing didn't exactly make sense. My Kamar, what exactly is Reb Shimon Gamliel saying? Amar Rabba says Rabba Hachi Kamar. This is what Reb Shimon Gamliel is saying. You ready? Good. Isha mashbachas kodem sheteled yoser mila'achar sheteled. 1 second. Is this really the case? Like the Tana Kama alleges that this woman is more valuable when she's pregnant, more so than after she safely gives birth? Velo isha mashbachas le'achar sheteled yoser mikodem sheteled. No, a woman prior to giving birth is in a dangerous predicament. Therefore, actually, her value would be considered less than after she safely gives birth. So, therefore, it wouldn't make sense to compare her value when she's pregnant to her value after she's miscarries, because she would be worth more afterwards, if she remains safe. So, Elashamin es havlodis, rather, says Reb Shimon Gamliel, no, we don't evaluate the value based on the woman. We take a look at the vlodis and we evaluate their value. V'nosnin lebal, and you give the value of the vlodis to the husband. Tananami Yochim Yochim learn Brisa like this. V'cheisha mashbachas kodem sheteled yosem elachar sheteled. Is this woman more valuable prior to giving birth than she is after she gives birth? V'alo isha mashbachas la'achar sheteled yosem mikodem sheteled. Rather, she's more valuable after she safely gives birth, more so than when she's pregnant. And we don't know how the birthing is going to work out. So ella shamin es ha vlodis v'nosnin lebal. Rather, we evaluate the value of the fetus, of the vlodis, of the miscarriage, and that is what is paid to the husband. Rava Amar says, Rava achi katani. Rava explains thus: V'chi isha lemi shayoledes mashbachas ve'ein la'atzma b'shvach vlodis klum. That basically, apparently, when a woman is pregnant, so I guess there are improvements to her body. I don't know, maybe I don't know. I guess over the course of the pregnancy, somehow, I don't know. Maybe she's eating better. Ich weiß nicht. I don't know. There's some kind of schwach, right? So there's dmei vlodis, which is the value of the fetus, but then there's also the schwach vlodis, that she somehow she increases in value as part of the pregnancy. So Rav is saying, look, that increased value, and now she's no longer pregnant because of what happened. So that loss of value, who does it go to, right? So let's read that again. So Rav Amar says, Rav hachi katani v'chi isha lemishio ledes mashbachas ve'en la'atzma b'shvach vlodis klum. This shvach vlodis, this increased value from the fetus, that only goes to her husband. She doesn't get any part of that. No, rather elasham vlodis. Rather, we evaluate the vlodis v'nosnin lebal. We give the dmei vlodis to the husband v'shvach vlodis, but this increased value cholkin. The husband and wife divide that in half. They split it. Tananami Yochim Yochim learn in a Brisa like this. Shimon Gamliel says, Shimon Gamliel v'chi isha lemi she yoledes mashbachas, does she increase it, become better just to her husband? She doesn't get any part of that increased value. Rather, we evaluate the nezek, the damage that happened to her by way of this, she getting hurt. So the damage and the tzara and the pain b'fnei atzmo, and that goes to her. V'shomanis havlados, and then we evaluate the value of the fetus. V'nosnin lebal, and that value goes to the husband. V'shvach vladis chokin, and the sort of this shevach, this enhanced value by way of the pregnancy, that they would split. So Reb Shimon Gamliel seems to be problematic, right? Meaning we had two ways of explaining Reb Shimon Gamliel's opinion. One was that she is less valuable when she's pregnant. When she gives birth, she's then more valuable. But now we're talking about, Reb Shimon Gamliel is talking about, well, she's more valuable when she's pregnant. There's the shvach vladis, and that they're splitting. So Kasha Khan b'mivakeres, Khan b'shein mivakeres. It depends. If it's the first birth, then it's more dangerous, and that's where Reb Shimon Gamliel would simply say that she's more valuable once she safely gives birth. But after that, then there is this shvach vladis, and that they would split according to Reb Shimon Gamliel. V'Rabbanan de'amri shvach vladis nami lebal. My timer. Now the rabbis though disagree with Reb Shimon Gamliel. They say that this shvach vladis entirely goes to the husband, and she doesn't get it at all, so they don't split it. Kedetanya, as we learn in the Brisa, from the fact that it says, right, what does the pasuk say? Ki yinatzu anoshim v'nagfu isha hara, a pregnant woman gets hit, v'yotzu yiladea, and she miscarries, v'leyasun, etc. From the fact that it says that she miscarries, I obviously know that, right, that she was pregnant. So, I don't know if I said married. I meant pregnant, right? So, if she's miscarrying, obviously she's pregnant. So, why does the pasuk have to say she's pregnant? It already says she miscarries. Memele, right? It's like computer programming. Right? You don't need to duplicate. If already from the fact that there's a miscarriage, memele, it means that she's pregnant. That's enough to identify her as being pregnant. So, why do we have to specifically tag that she's pregnant? So, matam lomer hora. Why does it say that she's pregnant? Lo malachot, to say to you, shvach eroyon lebal, to say that this shvach what do we call this? The shvach vladis goes to the husband. Reb Shimon Gamliel, hi hara my darish bey. What does Reb Shimon Gamliel do with this word hara? Because he says that it doesn't all go to the husband. So mibar le'chadetanya, he needs it like the following brayso. Reb Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer le'olam enu chayv ad sheichane keneged beisa eroyim, that when it says that that the person hits this woman and she miscarries, you're only going to be chayiv if it's isha hara, meaning that he hits her where she's pregnant, not like in her arm or something like that. So Amar Papalo Tema Kineged Beis Ayrayon Mamish Ela Kol Echad Desalig Bei Shichma Livalav. It doesn't mean specifically her where she's pregnant, but even if they hit her in any place where the impact could affect the baby, so then they will be chayiv for the vladis. But la'afuka yad v'regel delot, to the exclusion of, if he hits her in the foot or the hand, then he would not. He would be potter for dmei vladis there. So shifra v'nishtachura ogiores potter. Now we said that if she was a shifra and she was married to an eved meshucher, ogiores, so she's a giores in the assumption that she's married to a ger, and then he dies, so then potter, the perpetrator, does not need to pay dmei vladis because that goes to the ger, but the ger died and he doesn't have any relatives, so the perpetrator could just hold on to the money. Amar Rabba says, Rabba lo shanu ella. This is only shechaval ba b'chaye hager v'meis hager. Now, when we say that the perpetrator can hold on to the money, that is only if this incident happened when the ger was still alive, and then the ger died. So in that scenario, the chaval ba b'chaye hager, because since this incident happened when the ger was still alive, so zacha behu ger. So the ger, right, the money needs to be paid to the ger. And when the ger dies, the proselyte dies, and there's nobody to inherit him. So then, zacha behu min hager. So then the perpetrator just holds on to the money because there's nobody else to give it to. He's just going to hold on to it. Avol chaval ba la'achar misas hager. Right? If you have a ger who's married to a gyoris and she's pregnant, and then the ger dies, and then this incident happens, well then, zachila ihi bigavayu. Well then, she gets the payment, right? If the ger was already dead at the time of the incident, then the payment goes to her. Umichayiv d'shalume la ledida, and the perpetrator will then have to pay her. So meaning, when the incident happened, when the proselyte was still alive, so then the money goes to the proselyte. The proselyte's now dead, so he can hold on to the money. But if the proselyte was already gestorben in Wellwood when this incident happened, well then he needs to pay her. Rav Chizda says, Rav Chizda, Mari dichi atu vladis tsare ninu v'zachya behu. Says Rav Chizda, ma pitom, Rabba, are these vladis just like, a bundle of money that she can just kind of pick up like that? Well, he's dead, so now she gets it. No, that look, if the husband is still alive, if the husband's alive, so then if this incident happens, so then the money goes to him. But if he's gestorben, so then the money doesn't go to anybody. Obviously not to him because he's dead, but it also doesn't go to her either. So according to Rabbah, if the husband, the proselyte, is dead at the time of the incident, so then according to Rabbah, then the money goes to her. According to Rav Chizda, he says no, nobody gets the money in that case. If the husband's dead, the husband goes to what? The money goes to the husband. If the husband's dead, the money doesn't go to anybody. Meaning, if the incident happened when he was already dead, but if the incident happened when he was alive and then he died, so we say then it goes to the heirs, and then since there are no heirs in this case, so then the perpetrator can hold on to it. Fine. Meisvei we have a kasha. Hika es ha'isha v'yatsu yiladeh. If so somebody hits a pregnant woman and she miscarries. No saying nezek v'tzar li'isha. So then nezek tzar goes to the isha, v'dmei vladis libal, and the value of the fetus goes to the husband. Eina bal, but if the husband is not around, nosim li'yorshav, so give the value to his heirs. Eina isha, if she's not around, nosim li'yorshel, so give the nezek and the tsar to her heirs. Now, now what about in our scenario that we're discussing, if she's a shichra v'nishtachra or a gioris, so zacha, he can, right? So the perpetrator holds on to the money, and we want to say that this would be in all scenarios. It doesn't distinguish. In all scenarios, even if the incident happened after the husband, the proselyte, was already dead, still the perpetrator holds on to the money. The money does not go to her. It's a kasha on Rabbah. Amre, to which they say, I don't understand. Why is this brisa any better than our Mishnah? That we said that our Mishnah is specifically talking about when the incident happened, when the ger was still alive, and then the ger passed away. Let's say the same thing in this brisa as well. That the incident happened when the ger was still alive, and then the ger died, and that's why the perpetrator could hold on to the money. But I can make the same argument that if the incident happened after the perpetrator was after the ger already died, so then I would say that that the money would go to her. Alternatively, you could say that the incident did happen after the ger died. Vitani, don't say vizacha that the perpetrator could hold on to money, rather zachsa that she gets the money and not he gets the money. Okay. Let's say that this shaila, this machlokas between Rabbi and Rav Chizda about if this incident with the miscarriage happens after the ger is already dead, this incident then happens. Rabbi says that she gets the money. Rav Chizda says that she does not get the money, that the perpetrator can keep the money. So let's say it's taka machlokas tanoim. Bas Yisrael shenises lager. If you have a Bas Yisrael, okay, who's married to a ger, V'nisaba mimenu, she got pregnant from him. V'choval ba b'chai ager, and then this incident happened, right? This perpetrator hits her, and the husband is still alive, the ger is still alive. Nosin d'mei vladis lager. So then the d'mei vladis goes to the convert, to the ger, with the husband. But the acha misas ager. But if the incident happens when the ger is no longer alive, tani chada chayav v'tani idach potter. So one Tana says, or one Brisa, I guess, one Brisa, one Tana, one Brisa, let's say one Tana says chayav, and what we're assuming is it means that you'd have to pay the dmei vlados to her. That would be like Rabba. So Rabba would say like the Tanakama, v'tani chada potter. The other one says that there would be no dmei vladis in this case because the husband is already dead, so there's nobody to pay to, and that would be like Rav Chizda, who says that the perpetrator would be potter. My lav tanoi ninu. So let's say it's machlokas tanoim. The Rabba vade tanoi. So Rabba, who says that she would get paid the dmei vladis, so certainly it's machlokas tanoim that he says like the Tanakama. But the other Tana who says potter, I mean, Rabba just can't say like that because Rabba says that that there would be payment. He wouldn't be potter. But Rav Chizda can try to make an argument, milema tanoi. Rav Chizda could make the argument that it's takanara machlokas tanoim. That actually both Tanas in this scenario would agree with him that there would be no vladis payment since the ger husband is already dead. So then how do you explain the Tanakama who says chayiv? Lo kasha ha rabbanon harav Shimon ben Gamliel. Well, you could say it's not talking about the dmei vladis. Rav Chizda would say that nobody gets the dmei vladis in this scenario because the husband's dead and the wife wouldn't get it because it goes to the husband, not the wife. But rather, this is talking about the shvach vladis. Remember we talked about shvach vladis earlier? This sort of enhanced value that she gets, right? That she becomes more valuable because of the pregnancy. So the Chachamim had said that all of it goes to the husband. Well, the husband is no longer alive, so therefore nobody gets it. And that's like the second Tana who says potter. Whereas Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said that they split it. And therefore, because they split it, so then she would get payment for the shvach vladis, and therefore, even though he's dead, she would still get payment. And now be like the Tanakama who says chayev for the shvach vladis. Irib Shimon ben Gamliel, my iria la'achar misa afilu mechayim nami isla palga. But so effective Gemara. But if that's how you're going to answer it, to say that we're talking about shvach vladis, and we're saying when it says chayev, it means chayev for this shvach vladis payment, according to Shimon Gamliel, who says that she can get half. So what's the difference that the ger is dead? Even if the ger was still alive, she would still be getting this half payment for the shvach vladis. So why is it significant that he's dead? Well, mechayim isla palga lachar misa kule. Well, when the ger is alive, then she would get half of the shvach vladis. But now that the ger is dead, she gets all of the shvach vladis. And that's what chayiv is, that he's chayiv to pay all of the shvach vladis to her. But again, Rav Chizda would say that both Tanas agree that the dmei vladis doesn't go to anybody. Alternatively, you could say that both Tanas, the one who says chayiv and potter, are both Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, kan b'shvach vladis, kan b'dmei vladis. That when we say chayiv, that's talking about the shvach vladis, and when we say potter, that's talking about the dmei vladis. Because again, Rav Chizda says that there's no dmei vladis in this case. Amrei mishvach vladis lishma dmei vladis. So effective Gemara, but then why don't we say that just like we're saying that according to Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, that now that the husband is dead, so when he was alive, she would have gotten half of the shvach vladis. Now that she's dead, she gets all of the shvach vladis, including his portion. So then, why don't we say that she also gets the Dmei Vladis, which is his portion, right? The Dmei Vladis would go to him. So why don't we say that just like she gets his portion of the Shvach Vladis, let's say that she also gets the Dmei Vladis. Let's now then say the same thing also about the rabbis, right? The rabbis had said that when he's alive, he gets all the Shvach Vladis, but again, just like she's getting his portion of the Shvach Vladis, I don't know what I just said, the Shvach Vladis, it says Shvach Vladis, the Shvach Vladis, the Shvach Vladis, just like she gets it, now that he's dead, she gets his portion of the Shvach Vladis. Let's say, according to the rabbis also, now that he's dead, she gets his portion of the Shvach Vladis, i.e. all of the Shvach Vladis. So Amri Lo. Shvach Vladis de Shaycha Yoda Begavayu Zachya Behu Bechulu. That look, when it comes to the Shvach Vladis, that even when he's alive, she still gets half of it. So now that he's dead, she gets not just her half, but all of it. But Dmei Vladis, the lo Shaycha Yoda Begavayu lo Zachya Behu Klal. But the Dmei Vladis, which when the husband is alive, she doesn't get any of it, it goes to him, so she doesn't get any portion of that when he's dead. And I guess that way you can also explain according to the rabbis as well, that since the rabbis say that the Shvach Vladis, she doesn't get any portion in, therefore she wouldn't get any portion of it now either. Alright, that's very nice stuff. But mine Rav Yevasove, Rav Nachman, Rav Yevasove asked Rav Nachman, Hamachzik b'shtarosiv shel ger mahu. Alright. A person who, a ger dies, and now everyone's rummaging through his stuff and taking stuff, because it's all hefker. So a person who grabs documents, and the documents say that he has he's entitled to I don't know, I guess maybe he has a lien on a certain field, and this person now takes this document, right? It's hefker, and he takes the document. So the question is, if I understand it correctly, I might not be understanding it fully. I don't know. But man demachzik b'shtare adaita da'aru demachzik uva'ara loy achzik. Do we say that? Well, when a person takes a document that describes in the document that the person who has this document has some kind of a right to the field. So is this person who's now assuming that it's hefker and he's taking it, is he thinking that he's actually getting ownership of the field, which is not true? He's not actually getting ownership of the field, because he would have to, make some kind of a kinyan on the field, which he doesn't own the field. He owns this document that says that somehow he could potentially, I guess, get the field. Vishtar nami lo kana. So do we say, well, look, he doesn't get the field because he's not making any kind of a kinyan on the field, and because he thinks in his mind that he's getting the field, which he isn't, then he also isn't making a kinyan on the document, because he doesn't think that he's making a kinyan on the document. He thinks that he's somehow getting the field, so therefore he gets nothing. So right, so v'shtar nami lo kana delav daite ashtar, because his intention isn't for the shtar. Or duma daite nami ashtar, do we say no, his intention is also for the shtar? Or Malaysia Rav Nachman answers, Ani Mori, well, why don't you answer me? V'chilotzo apitzluchiso? Who tzarich? No, of course he doesn't get the right. He's not making a kinyan on the document, because if his intention is for the field, so what intention does he have for the document? What is he going to use it to close his barrels or something like that? No, he has no use for it, so he's not making a kinyan on the document. Amarle, to which Rav Yevasav responds, Lotzu v'lotzu. Why not? Let him use it why not assume that he's going to use it to close his barrel or something? Or his jug? Alright, and I guess therefore he maybe does make a kinyan on it. Rabbi says, Rabbi, Mashkono shel Yisrael biyad ger v'meis hager. Now, if, let's say, a convert, a ger, had lent $1,000 to a Yisrael, and then he had taken a collateral, okay, he took something as a collateral, and then the ger dies, and now it's hefker, and everybody's, pillaging his stuff. So, uva Yisrael acher ve'echazik bo, and somebody else comes and takes this collateral which belongs to the borrower. So, motziin oso miyado. So the borrower can say to the pillager, give me back my collateral, right? Because my time became the mislay ger pakale shibude. Well, since the ger, meaning the ger had lent the Yisrael $1,000, so now the Yisrael needs to pay back the ger $1,000. Now, in the meantime, the ger had taken a collateral, so long as he's not getting paid back. But now that the ger is dead, that kind of lien on the collateral goes away. So therefore the Yisrael has the right to take his object back, nobody else can take it. Mashkono shel ger biyad Yisrael, if it was fakert, if a Yisrael had, right, let's say Yisrael lent $1,000 to a ger, and the ger gave a mashkin to the Yisrael, v'ameis hager, and then the ger passed away. And then somebody else comes and takes the collateral that the Yisrael was holding on to. So the person who pillaged the item, so somebody came and pillaged the item, so the Yisrael who lent, again, the Yisrael lent money to the ger. The ger then gave the Yisrael a collateral. The ger then died. Somebody else grabbed the collateral. So the Yisrael is entitled to get back the value of the collateral up to the amount of the value of the amount that he lent. And then the person who pillaged it can get the remaining value. But why should the pillager get any of it? Tikni lechatzero. Mistama, the object was in the lender's property, and therefore his chotzer, his courtyard should be koneh, right? Meaning the ger died, so whoever takes possession of the ger's items, it belongs to them. It's hefker, so it belongs to whoever takes it. Being that the item was already in the lender's chotzer, shouldn't he automatically get ownership, get rights to that, get ownership rights to it? So why can somebody else just come and pillage it? So the Amar Rabbi Yosef B'Chanina, because after all, Rabbi Yosef B'Chanina says Chatzer shel Adam koneh lo shelo midaito, that a person's chotzer could be koneh even without his knowledge. So Amir Yochav Ma'askin, they say here, what are we talking about? Delay say that the lender is not in town. He's not where his chotzer / the item is, the collateral is. So kolecha de ise lidide. So the rule with the chotzer being koneh is that if the lender or if the person who owns the chotzer is in town, is around, is in the area, di bayi makne matzi kani, that if he wanted to actually make a kinyan on it, to go and like pick it up or something and make a kinyan on it, he would be able to because he's close by. So then kanya leinami chatzeros, then his chotzer could be koneh for him. But kolecha de leise lidide, but if the owner of the chotzer is not in town, the ibai who lemikne lo matzi kani, that he would not be able to just go and pick up the item and be koneh it because he's not around. Well, then chatzer nami lo kanya, his chotzer is not koneh it, which is why the pillager could be koneh it. And the Gemara concludes and says, look, the fact of the matter is, we're talking about a scenario where the collateral was not in his chotzer, and that's why somebody was able to pillage it. But if it was in his chotzer, in any event, the chotzer would be koneh regardless of if he's around or not. It happens to be, we're talking about a scenario where the mashkun was not in his chotzer, and that's why somebody is able to pillage it, but he still has a right to up to the value of the money that he had lent. Friends, that was the Memtes of Masechet BavaKama. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.